She was the light in every room she walked into. Not in some fluffy, exaggerated way people often say after tragedy, but truly. She was magnetic. Her name was known, but it wasn't fame that made people remember her. It was her warmth, her laughter, her presence. And in one moment, that warmth was stolen in the most brutal, senseless way possible. This is the story of a murder that didn't just shatter one family, it pierced millions. It crossed oceans. It triggered outrage, heartbreak, and an aching need for justice in people who had never even met her. Before we dive in, if you're someone who believes stories like this matter, not just for justice but for understanding how things like this even happen, go ahead and subscribe, like, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters here. Let's begin. In the summer of 2015, 22-year-old Amina Khan was living what seemed like the beginning of a beautiful life. She had just graduated from university with honors, majoring in international relations. Her dream? To work with the UN on human rights issues. Born to Pakistani immigrants in London, Amina was the bridge between cultures. She could shift between Urdu and British slang in the same sentence, throw on a shalwar kameez for a family dinner and dance to Beyoncé an hour later. Her friends called her the glue, the one who kept everyone together. Her parents called her their miracle. She was their only child after years of struggling to conceive. Amina had just moved into her own apartment. Her Instagram was filled with little moments. Her morning lattes, her new monstera plant, late-night talks with her best friends. Nothing dramatic, just life, real and full. That's what made what happened next so unbearable. On July 12, 2015, Amina didn't show up for Sunday brunch. That wasn't like her. She was the one who planned brunch. By noon, her friend Lila had texted. No reply. By 2 p.m., she had called. Straight to voicemail. By evening, her parents were panicking. They drove to her apartment, knocked, rang, waited. Nothing. The police were called. When officers entered Amina's flat, everything looked normal at first. A coffee cup in the sink. A book half open on the couch. But then they found her. She was in her bedroom, partially covered by a blanket, as if someone had tried to pretend she was simply asleep. But the truth was immediate and horrifying. Amina had been strangled. There were bruises on her arms, a broken lamp, signs of a struggle, but no signs of forced entry. The world shifted for everyone who loved her. And soon, that shock would ripple far beyond her quiet London street. What happened in those first 72 hours would define everything. Police immediately locked down her apartment. Forensics combed every inch. The timeline was hazy, but neighbors had reported hearing a scream late Saturday night. One neighbor assumed it was just another couple arguing. In hindsight, they would say that silence never felt so loud. The initial theory? Someone she knew. That's usually where it starts. And they were right. They found traces of DNA under her fingernails. Skin. She fought back. Hard. But the match shocked everyone. It was her ex-boyfriend, Daniel Walsh. Daniel and Amina had dated for about a year during university. At first, it was fun. But friends say Daniel had a jealous streak. Amina had brushed it off at the time. He didn't like her guy friends. He hated when she didn't answer right away. When she ended things, he didn't take it well. He'd called, texted, showed up at her apartment uninvited a few times. She never told her parents the full story. She didn't want to worry them. But her friends knew. And they weren't surprised when his name came up. Daniel was arrested 2 days later. At first, he denied everything. Claimed he hadn't seen her in weeks. But his phone records told a different story. CCTV showed him walking down her street the night she was killed. Then there was the DNA. And finally, there was the confession. He said he just wanted to talk. That they argued. That she got angry. That he snapped. That word, snapped, like a flimsy excuse, like a moment of rage could explain away everything. But the coroner's report painted a more calculated picture. She had been strangled over the course of several minutes. It wasn't fast. It wasn't impulsive. It was slow, personal, up close. He had stayed in the apartment afterward, cleaned up a bit, moved things around, then left. Left her like that. Left her for her parents to find. The press went wild. But this wasn't just tabloid fodder. This was different. Amina's story spread like wildfire. It wasn't just the brutal nature of her murder. It was who she was. Her story resonated with women around the world. Especially women of color. Women who knew what it was like to smile through uncomfortable dates, to downplay obsessive behavior, to worry about making a man angry just for saying no. Social media exploded. #Justice for Amina trended in over 20 countries. Thousands of women shared their own stories, their own Daniels, their own near misses. Her murder had become a mirror, reflecting something society had long tried to ignore. Celebrities spoke out. Human rights organizations took notice. Amina became a symbol, not because she wanted to, but because her story was too familiar. And that's what made it all the more heartbreaking. Because it wasn't some random act of violence. It was a pattern. One we all know too well. Daniel's trial began in early 2016. He sat in court, eyes downcast, wearing a suit his lawyer probably picked. His defense team tried to argue diminished responsibility. That he was emotionally unstable. That he had been under stress. That the breakup had unhinged him. But the prosecution wasn't having it. They presented every text, every ignored call, every jealous outburst. Amina had made it clear she didn't want contact. She had blocked him. She had told friends she was done. This wasn't love. This was control. The jury deliberated for less than a day. Guilty. Life in prison. Minimum 25 years. There was no joy in that verdict. No celebration. Just silence. Just a mother sobbing into a handkerchief that still smelled like her daughter's shampoo. After the trial, Amina's parents did something extraordinary. They didn't disappear. They didn't just retreat into private grief. They spoke out. They started a foundation in her name, the Amina Khan Project, focused on education, healthy relationships, and early intervention for domestic abuse. They went on talk shows, spoke at schools, lobbied for policy changes. Amina's mother once said in an interview, "If I stay silent, he wins again." And she disappears. I won't let that happen. And she didn't. Because of their work, the UK government introduced a new national strategy for recognizing early signs of coercive control in relationships. Funding increased for domestic abuse hotlines. Police officers began receiving training focused not just on physical violence, but psychological manipulation. In some ways, it was too late. But in others, it was just the beginning. There are stories that fade with time. This isn't one of them. Maybe it's because Amina reminds so many people of someone they love. A sister, a friend, a version of themselves. Maybe it's because the way she died was so preventable, so utterly unfair. Or maybe it's because deep down, we all know how fragile life is, and how quickly someone else's obsession can destroy it. But there's something else, too. It's the legacy she left behind, without even trying. The lives saved because her story wasn't buried under headlines. The conversations she sparked. The awareness she brought. The women who saw the warning signs in their own lives because of her. She's not just a tragedy. She's a warning. A wake-up call. And a reminder that even in death, some people shine so brightly, they light the way forward. If Amina's story moved you, talk about it. Share it. Protect the people in your life. Check in on your friends. Listen when someone says they're scared. And never, ever brush off the red flags. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. These stories matter, and we tell them not just to remember, but to learn. Like, comment, and share this video if it meant something to you. And if you or someone you know needs help, we've linked domestic abuse resources in the description below. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never underestimate the power of speaking up.